Hello, and welcome in everybody to another One Piece video. Today, we got the post-game show for chapter 1165. So what that means is that we're gonna go through the comment section and just read and see what everybody's talking about. The theories, the hype, the opinions. We're here for all of it. So with that being said, let's get right to it. And also, I might have to apologize in advance, but because I am seemingly the only YouTuber that knows about Barbell and hypes this guy up, the comment section might or might not be flooded with Barbell mentions. So, getting right into it, the top comment, no way. The first word that came out of this ninja's mouth was Barbell. It was, man. It was. You gotta admit, right? Even if you're not a part of the meme, even if you do not like Barbell, be honest. Be so honest with yourself. Isn't it odd that Oda hasn't brought him back in yet? We've seen every Rocks pirate thus far. Updates on how they're leaving the island, who they're fighting, what they're doing, what their devil fruits are. Nothing about Barbell. Even if you do not like the joke or the meme, you gotta admit, it's a little bit weird. This one says, Barbell is holding back all 10 God Knights from reaching the Rocks versus Roger Garp fight. That could be it. Hey, I genuinely am not counting this theory out yet. We saw, maybe it's a parallel. We saw Fisher Tiger fighting Vice Admiral Strawberry and all 10 of his Marines when they were dropping off Koala. Maybe this is the same thing. We pan over and Barbell is like this on the ground and all the God Knights are surrounding him saying, looks like we can add another fish to the tank, boys. Maybe that's it. Just like Barbell, the God Knights have seemingly disappeared off the island. The Barbell fan base, brother, that's just you. For now. I don't want to see people switch up, though, when we see what Barbell's doing. Bro saw this peak-ass chapter and still is thinking about Barbell. He haunts my dreams. I think Barbell and Bogart are fighting off-screen for 10 days and 10 nights. Yeah, they're the reason God Valley disappeared, actually. Just like how Akainu and Kuzan fought for 10 days and 10 nights and they terraformed Punk Hazard. Maybe the same happens here. Maybe the same. Being Oda has to be insanely hard. You're right, one of the most epic flashbacks in the series, and people, oh look at this, people, not just me, people cannot stop talking about Barbell. Luffy will be holding the One Piece in the palm of his hands, and Sai will still be asking where the God Knights are, and Barbell at this rate. Hey, it's important. We gotta see these guys. We gotta see them. I'm not crazy, am I? I'm not crazy. 15 seconds. I'm assuming I'm talking about Barbell there. I just love how Roger and Garp channel their inner Luffy. Here we go. The first non-Barbell comment. Hallelujah. It actually happened. How many comments about Barbell did we have? Sorry. Last tangent. Let's scroll up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 Barbell comments in a row before we actually got one about the chapter. That's so funny. I just love how both Roger and Garp channel their inner Luffy. Roger, hitting the big ugly monster doesn't hurt him. Hit him harder. Garper, no Gatling. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, dude, it's crazy when you go back, and I saw somebody compare them. It's crazy comparing what Roger looked like at episode or chapter 1 versus how he looks now. He essentially just looks like Ace, which, hey, I'm a fan of. When it comes to Roger's early design, I never really liked it, but this Roger, pretty peak. Sigh, don't want to hear this, but maybe one of the Celestial Dragons saw Barbell and thought, oh yeah, that'll make a great pet. I want to hear this. I am even fine with this. I don't even want Barbell to be strong. Do not confuse my love for Barbell as me hyping him up to another level. No. I think he'd get wiped. I hope he gets wiped. I just want to know what he's up to. It's one of those things. Like, you're a parent and your kid goes off to college. You don't have to make good grades, but just let me know you're doing okay. Just give me the 411. Call me every now and then. That's all that really matters. Barbell, please pick up the phone. After seeing how strong Garp was and thinking about Marineford, I can safely say Akainu never had a chance against Garp. He was cooked. I used to think he stood a chance, but now I'm convinced he never stood a chance. That's tough. Because you gotta imagine, right? This is old Garp we're talking about. Young Garp, prime God Valley Garp. Yeah, dude, Akainu, in my opinion, doesn't stand a chance. But the Garp at Marineford, he's kind of out of the game. Even when we saw him in Eni's lobby, correct me if I'm wrong, but when he threw the cannonballs at the Thousand Sunny, he said, oh, my power ain't what it used to be. That was only half my power. What the heck? Like, Yeah, I don't think Garp was standing a chance against Akainu. You could argue, though, that because Akainu was wounded by Whitebeard beforehand, yeah, Garp could win. I think that's a very solid argument. But 100% HP Garp at Marineford versus 100 HP Akainu at Marineford, I would put my money on Akainu. But then again, you know, Garp would go rage mode, and, you know, because Ace just died, maybe Garp gets like the, you know, the shonen boost, but we'll see, we'll see. I feel like this is a pretty good question, and I maybe want to poll it. Judging by the number of replies, I don't have to read them. I know this is a hot topic, you know, just looking at this number, look at this. 1 reply, 0 replies, 6 replies, 28 right here. The reason why Rox was crying so desperately, and he even let Roger and Garp kill him, I think there's a chance that from his POV, he thought his own Slash had killed his wife and Teach, and was overwhelmed with guilt and remorse. I believe that too. I mean, hell, there's even a chance that he has no clue what's going on. There's a chance he might not even see what's around him. He simply senses the hockey, and of course, because Kuma papaed them, the hockey, their spiritual energy, just blipped out of existence, and that must be devastating. You know, Rox is essentially sleepwalking right now. How much is he actually seeing? Not gonna lie, Roger and Garp trying to almost comfort Rox while trying to kill him, like they are putting him down, is hella sad. They weren't even best friends or anything, but I guess seeing anyone in that state is just depressing. Dude, he's crying, man. Yeah, it would be really depressing. Like, even without the voice of all things active, I think it would just be sad in general. You're fighting somebody who's actively shedding tears. It's like the Bellamy fight with Doflamingo and Luffy, right? Bellamy was using him as a puppet, and Bellamy was crying like, Strawhead, I'm gonna beat you. You're gonna have to one-tap me again. It's like, dude, that's too much. I'm glad they weren't too goofy in the fight. It made it more emotional. Also, this is the first Will of D death where they went out sobbing as opposed to smiling - neutral faced. To be fair, we do not know if King Cobra smiled either. I remember that was a big thing, right? Because King Cobra should have the D initial since he's a descendant of Lily. And if I recall correctly, he wasn't smiling when Imu stabbed him. So I think King Cobra was the first, and this could be the second. Albeit, Rox hasn't fully died yet. I do think there is a really good chance that come 1166, Rox regains consciousness in his final moments, and maybe he does smile. Maybe Roger and Garp saw what happened to Blackbeard and Eris, and they're like, hey, Rox, just a heads up, buddy. I think they're out there still. I think I saw like some small Buccaneer slave boy teleport them away. I'll go check, and then Rox is like, oh, thank you guys. Yay. Ugh. Imu is just like Moria, for real. Moria's motto, if you forgot, is relying upon others for one's own objective. And his favorite phrase is, you do it. I don't remember the you do it, but that sounds so funny. It reminds me of like the Nike thing, right? Just do it. But instead, Moria's is you do it. So as far as this goes, yes, that was Moria's motto in the past. Is that Moria's motto today? I don't know. Because he adopted this motto when Kaido killed all of his crew. So Moria said, hey, I don't want that to happen again. So why don't I just get a stronger crew that can't die? And since that's the case, I don't have to do a damn thing. I do think now, current day at least, because Moria's crew, again, got wiped out by Luffy, I think there's a chance his motto could change again. And that goes back to the whole prison body Moria theory, right? Oh, Oda didn't show us Moria at Hachinosu because he's finally locked in again, right? We're seeing Pirate King Ambition Moria once more. He's no longer going to rely upon others. But getting back to the Imu parallel, I do like this. And I think this could be true for Imu as well, right? Imu is from the Void Century. There's like a 99% chance that is the case. He knew Davy Jones. He knew Joy Boy. He knew Lily. Everybody around him from that era at least is dead. Just like Moria, he lost everybody around him. So I wouldn't be shocked if Imu does end up being somewhat of a tragic villain. Where he's like, yeah, you know, my whole crew, they're gone. So I want to replace them, and here we have it. I'll just let all these guys shine. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah, I do think Imu will be a really interesting character once we learn more about them. Garp's response to Roger, who will protect the Marines, was very interesting. It gives his words about the future of the Marines more weight. Garp trained the most good-hearted Marines, like Kuzan, Kobe, and other members of SWORD. He was fighting the internal war within the Marines. Imagine if Garp had joined Roger. Most young Marines would likely become like Akainu or Green Bull, and at the end of the story, all the Marines who are inspired or trained by Garp will rebel against Imu. When the rule of Imu and Celestial Dragons is over, these Garp Marines will become, as Garp said, the future of the Marines. I'm gonna be honest, I do agree with all of this, but where I differ is that I think that all the Marines will turn against Imu. I do think there will be some who stick with the WG longer than others, but at the end of the story, I do think even characters like Akainu and Green Bull will turn against the Celestial Dragons. I mean, hell, you put Akainu on this list, but the thing is that Akainu, thus far, has been the most rude to the Celestial Dragons. I think he really does not like them. He's only doing their bidding because that's his position, really. And that is why Garp never wanted to get promoted, right? Garp didn't want to work under the Celestial Dragons, like how Akainu and Sengoku were and are. But yeah, I do think that overall, though, the Marines will separate. I mean, you know, the thing is that right now, they're following their own sense of justice. They do think that what they're doing is for the greater good. But with the Vegapunk message and the whole thing about Celestial Dragons wanting to sink the world, it's like, okay, now some Marines are questioning what to do. Once they learn that Imu is sitting on the empty throne, and that, yeah, their hometowns are being destroyed, I really doubt that Marines will stick with the program and protect the Celestials. I do think a full rebellion will be on the horizon near the end of the story. Sai sounds genuinely insane doing his rant at 4210. It's funny because I recorded the rant at the very end of the video after I was initially done recording. I was editing the video, and throughout the whole thing, I was like, dude, Garling, like, his name was just echoing in the back of my head. Like, dude, what is Oda doing with this guy? I really don't know. And it's crazy. It's insane. I remember coming into God Valley, it was Oda who did it. One, he hyped up Garling in the 10 questions we got last year. Like, oh yeah, Garling is very strong. You guys will see it soon. Yeah, he was rolling with Garp and Roger. And then both times we were introduced to God Valley, Oda put a special emphasis on Garling. Like, oh, here's him, you know, killing the king. Here's him leading the tournament. And then we come to this flashback, and it's like, oh my god, here's Garling again, leading the Holy Knights. God Knights behind me, rally! It's like, dude, what? Oh, what is going on with this dude? I don't know. And that is why I do think we will get 1 or 2 more chapters of God Valley. I do not think it's done yet. At least I hope, you know. It's not even like a Garling fan thing. It's like Barbell, right? Yes, I do like these characters. I do like losers in general. I feel like that's true for like most animes I watch. I do like losers and villains. But agenda aside, it is like, wait, is that really all he's doing here? He comes over and he gets washed and that's it? Surely not, right? Like Oda's kind of put him on a pedestal, at least more so than the others. And it's like, wait, I don't know. Xebec, unless events play out differently, represents a potential future of Loki, wherein he continues to embrace the tough guy act without allowing anyone to see his vulnerabilities. By the time he's actually put in a truly vulnerable spot, no one is coming for his aid because he refused to show any of his flaws and is actually turned into a monster. They just assume it's just another extension of the norm instead of something abnormal. So Loki needs to show his vulnerabilities to avoid the outcome. I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. And this is one thing I think Oda is tackling here in Elbaf. I mean, hell, even when Loki was talking to Mosa, we had, I believe it was Gerd and Goldberg. They were listening in on the side and they're like, oh, Loki, you know, I'm surprised you made a friend. Like, I never really heard you talk like that before. It's like, yes, his softer side is being opened up. I mean, hell, there's even Luffy who just straight up likes Loki. So, yeah, I do think Loki will find friends whether he likes it or not. And of course, this will open him up, right? People will actually trust him more and more. Funny thing is that Xebec did have a soft side, right? It was mainly just towards his wife and child, though. And, you know, people like King Harold who weren't present at God Valley, it's like, dude, if only he had them by his side at the very end. Or at least, you know, if only Eris and Teach could actually, you know, fight or were older, but that's besides the point. This says, the most horrifying part of the chapter was how fast Xebec turned from a sassy character into someone who literally begs for death after Imu was finished with him. Yeah, it was so quick. I mean, it makes sense though, right? It goes back up to that earlier comment, which might take a while to find it. But it's the whole thing where like he doesn't know if he killed his wife or son. How much is he actually seeing? And then plus, there's something bad about knowing that your entire crew is abandoning you as you speak. Forget the wife and child for a minute because that's like an easy layup. But his crew is just straight up gone. Like nobody's there. It's like you're holding a birthday party, you know, you sent out the invitations and nobody's there. And plus your family died. It's like, wait, what? Huh? Garling, kills Polo, and is reborn as Marco. Whitebeard, the goated daddy will instinctively defend his son. Amnesia, peace will return. I've heard this theory before. Polo having the Phoenix Fruit, dying, and then being reborn as Marco. I think that's a fun theory. Only problem is that Marco should be 7 years old as of this flashback. So it's not entirely possible, but it's not impossible. Because who's to say that because he's already been born once, when he gets killed with the Phoenix Fruit, he simply respawns as like a little kid, which is like 7-year-old Marco. I don't know if I like that theory that much. I think it's fun, but the logical side of me is just saying that his son Marco is already there, right? But then again, this is one of the first times where Oda hasn't stated that, you know, this person is the father of X. You know, he did that for Garp, he did that for Roger, he did that for Xebec. Didn't do it for Polo. Maybe Oda just wants people to piece it together themselves, which, now I'm curious, does Japan know about Marco Polo? I don't know, actually. You know, as an American, it's like, yeah, Marco Polo, I've heard about this like 1,000 times, but Japan, maybe it will be like an Easter egg for them. Like, not everybody will get the reference. Is that crazy? Maybe. But then again, maybe Marco Polo is just one of those international things, and they're like, oh yeah, of course I know that guy. Yeah, the great explorer, yeah, him. Hey, Sai, I love your random images, man. I'm glad you implemented them. Keep it up. I appreciate it. Sometimes it's just like basic images. Sometimes I do try to go for memes or whatever's tickling my fancy, but yeah, I'm glad people find some enjoyment in it. Purple is nice. Okay, so this is in reference to the Mother Flame and me suggesting that maybe Luffy's final power-up will be purple. So yes, purple is nice, except in the mural, it's clearly white, and Scopper stated he wanted to confirm that Luffy's transformation is all white. But I do believe that there will be a relevant plot point with Luffy and the Mother Flame in the future, because Luffy's Devil Fruit should have properties of all three classes: the transformation and durability of his own, the environmental manipulation of Paramecia's, and infinite energy of Logia. I believe Vegapunk couldn't replicate Logia because the Mother Flame wasn't complete, and an infinite energy source is needed to create a Logia. So in order to stop running out of energy, Luffy needs to awaken, or something else, the infinite energy within or outside of his fruit. That's interesting. I mean, infinite energy of a Logia, I don't know if I'd consider that like one of their main properties. I feel like that could just be like a property of Paramecia's even. Like, we haven't seen a Paramecia run out of Paramecia ability, if that's what you're suggesting. When I think about Logias, at least for me, the main thing I go to is their ability to become their element, right? Like Aokiji is ice. We have Akainu who is lava. Sabo, Ace, they are flames. Yes, that's infinite energy, but because of that, they're also intangible. I don't think Luffy will reach that level of intangibility. I mean, you could even argue he's kind of like that already, though, right? The durability of a Zoan that's rubbery, that's already pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't know. Properties of all three classes. This is the first time I've heard of that. Either way, though, I do think that Luffy will need to awaken his flame power to some extent. I mean, he's the sun god who hasn't really utilized any sun abilities. Yes, Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd, both have fire abilities in their arsenal, right? Red Hawk, and then of course Red Rock. But Gear 5th doesn't have anything yet. He's just stretching. That is not what I think of when I think of the sun god. That's more like the rubber or, you know, toon god. So it's like, yeah, eventually I think this will come in as another transformation or just a boost in general. And I like it. I do like knowing that Luffy hasn't reached his peak yet. I don't think he should reach his peak yet. I think there should be hurdles in Luffy's path that makes him need to grow. It necessitates that. Because while we are in the final saga, I mean, we still have some major players to fight, right? We still got Blackbeard, we have Imu, maybe Garling or Shamrock. And so yeah, I would love it if Luffy had to keep on training. Yes, he's a Yonko, but the people he's fighting now, they're kind of above that, I would argue. This says, that was the longest game of Marco Polo ever. Somebody did the math. It's like 21 years or something. Absolutely insane. Barbell is a slave in the Holy Land. He'll later be reintroduced as Cypher Pole Zero. I don't think they will. Cypher Pole Zero? No, dude. No. There's no way they let a fishman into Cypher Pole Zero. That is absurd. I also believe most of the Marines will remove themselves from the world government, but I believe Green Bull will betray the Marines, as it's clear that his allegiance is to the world government and not Marines. I respect that, but I don't believe so personally. Yes, Green Bull believes in the system, but when the system breaks, right, when Green Bull is confronted with what they're doing, I don't think that he'll stay with the world government. I don't think he'll betray the Marines. And plus, I mean, his mentor, you know, the person he looks up to is Akainu. So really, whatever Akainu does, I think Green Bull will simply follow. That's my take on it, though. As far as, like, who loves the world government the most, it might be Green Bull, but I don't think that he's just going to sit around and follow them hand and feet. Barbell is swimming with the fishes. Okay, but that's a good thing. Wait. Usually swimming with the fishes is a bad thing, but here it'd be good. Rayleigh and Scupper running towards Roger even when Roger told them to leave, while everyone from the Rocks Pirates is just bailing, is a nice touch by Oda. Yep, shows the difference in the pirate crews night and day. They were already calling the Conqueror's armament combo the strongest move, but Roger just revealed he can channel all his weight into the blow. That basically means he's multiplying its destructive power. That is a huge boost. Yeah, the mass boost. I love all the mass jokes now. Like, oh, like what would happen if this character uses mass attacks? You know, Luffy fought Kaido, but what if Luffy used extra mass? Were they using all their mass in that attack though? It's crazy. Mass is so fascinating. I just hope Oda tackles it more or explains what it is. Like I said, for myself, I think it's simply just putting extra oomph into an attack. I don't know if it's like an actual power scaling thing, but we'll see. What if Polo isn't Marco's father, but he's Marco himself? If he has the Phoenix Delph fruit, maybe when he dies, he can regenerate, into his younger self like a son. Yeah, that would be interesting. That would definitely be an interesting theory. I don't mind it. Like I said, I do not mind this at all. I just don't know if that's what Oda's gonna do. I do not know. What are Gaban and Rayleigh doing? I doubt they can fight rocks. The possibility is that they come to bring back Roger and Garp, who can't move their bodies after their final attacks. Yep, I mean, that's pretty much what it is, right? I do think they're just simply gonna come back and pick them up. I feel like this might be reminiscent to Alabasta, where everybody's drowning and then, oh, here's Gaban and Rayleigh, or, you know, people who can swim, Zoro and Sanji, and they're simply saving them. Could be like Enies Lobby, where Luffy beat Rob Lucci, and he's like, yeah, guys, I won, but I can't move. And then we needed Robin to simply, you know, throw Luffy off the wall. I think this could be the same thing here. I do think Gaban and Rayleigh are simply going to pick them up, take them back to the ship, and maybe they do run into some interference. As much as we joke about it, the God Knights could be the interference. Like, hey, it's time to kill Garp and Roger, but oh my god, it's, you know, the Dark King and the Mountain Eater. I don't know. Wait, do they have those titles at this point? Maybe not. What's their first title then? Gaban the Mountain Chewer? Or Rayleigh the Mid King? Maybe. Mid King sounds so slanderous. Wait a minute. Yeah, Mountain Chewer and then the Mid King. Mid is like, the connotations behind mid nowadays, it's usually negative. Okay, what's not dark? I guess the Light King? No. The Semi-Translucent King? The Sperm King? I don't know what we call him. I don't know. It would be insane if Polo isn't Marco. Okay, wait. Okay, we're getting a lot of these theories now. Yeah. Polo is actually Marco, yeah? He dies somewhere and gets reborn as the sun. Would be insane. Yeah, I like how everybody's kind of mind-roping this same theory. I originally heard this from the Hidden Highland. Shouts to him. And now it seems like everybody's kind of hopping on the same boat, which I do respect. I like that. We're all like coming together for this theory now. I like purple. But there's a caveat. In fiction, purple is best used for incredibly rare things. If everything is purple, it kind of takes away from the exotic nature of the color, in reference to the Mother Flame. Yeah, arguably though, not a lot of purple in One Piece. So Luffy having purple flames, I think would be pretty cool. And of course, it would tie back to his Devil Fruit, which is purple. And Blackbeard's Devil Fruit, also purple. Something going on here. There is something definitely going on. It would be really interesting to see how Loki managed to deal with his father, considering he was extremely powerful, maybe on a very close level with the Rocks, if not the same level as him. Definitely stronger than Roger and Garp during God Valley. Therefore, if Herald was Domi Reversied and Loki beaten him, the same method can be adopted by the Strat crew to win against Imu and his subordinates. Loki beating his father. And that is true. You bring up a really good point, which now we can maybe like theorize about the inverse, right? Back when we saw King Herald dying, it was like, okay, is King Herald Domi Reversied, or are the guards Domi Reversied? We still don't know yet, but you're right. If Loki did beat his Domi Reversied dad by himself, or, you know, with the help of the guards, that would be a crazy W. But we cannot forget that Jarl was there too. So maybe Jarl put in a lot of legwork. But yeah, that would make Loki insanely powerful. Hell, who knows? Maybe his eyes do give him a power boost after all. I still like that theory a lot. Barbell was emergency food. Just like when Luffy pulled meat out of his pockets in Enies Lobby, Rocks had to eat Barbell to recharge. If he got his crew from Davy Xebec fights, then most of them probably saw it as an opportunity to get out of there from under what some of them thought might have been seen as a losing cause, because going against the WG after everything happening and even just the amount of hockey is a lot. Plus, they got an opportunity to get away with a lot of money. Yeah, that's true. It's just crazy to me, at least, that the Rock's crew only just now disassembled. Like, yes, they were looking for a chance to escape, but a lot of these dudes had like multiple years, almost decades to leave. And they're like, hey, let's all leave at the same time. Maybe somebody sent out a memo. Like, they're in a group chat and they're like, hey, I found a really good day, you guys. Let's leave right here. I know you want to leave yesterday, but wait till tomorrow. That St. Garland crash out was true and cold to the bone. If there's 2 chapters and he's not in a single one of them, then I agree with you, Sai. He's on a boat. We smoking on that fraud pack all day, y'all. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that, dude. Oh man, I've been eating all the Garling slander. I think it's hilarious, but brother, at some point it's gotta stop. At some point he's gotta do something. Father of the Sea is Elite Glaze. He is. Hey, if Barbell is Jinbei's dad, he is the father of the sea. Garp, order the Marines to save the survivors. Dragon is following orders. Mass is basically reserves. Use your stock of conquerors, blow your load, so to speak. Yes, so this is something I did not pick up my first time reading the chapter. But Garp did order the Marines that work under him to save the residents, save everybody in their vicinity. I got a lot of respect for that right there. The kind of justice that Garp and Dragon showed in this chapter reminds me of the justice of Batman and his son Damian. Bruce and Garp are powerful father figures who have chosen to work within a flawed system. They are pragmatists who believe that the structure of the law, even if it's imperfect, is better than the chaos of revolution. They're lawful good figures, fighting the battles in front of them, but not the war against the system itself. In contrast, Damian, especially early on, and Dragon believe that true justice cannot be achieved by playing by the rules of a rigged game. They're willing to use extreme, direct, and systematic methods to achieve their goals, making them chaotic good figures, fighting the war their fathers are unwilling to. The thing with this too, I am curious to see if Garp and Dragon have had contact. Like, I do think it's still too early to say what Garp's contributions are current day. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Garp was like maybe feeding information to Dragon. I think that'd be pretty cool. New drinking game. Take a shot every time Sai mentions Barbell. Dude, you'd get drowned. You would get absolutely drowned. Everybody's saying they don't care about Barbell, and I effing agree. No, we care. We care. Everybody cares. I think Oda is giving us examples of Imu's incompetence, like last chapter, just assuming teaching errors were dead. So when we see the Void Sentry, he can draw a parallel to Imu letting Lily get away and spreading the poneglyphs. That is right. Yeah, Imu did seem genuinely shocked that Lily had the D. He was so shocked, in fact, that he killed Cobra. So that's pretty insane. Imu being incompetent after all these years, kind of an L. Damn, Sai, good pick. I can totally see that. I don't know what theory I dropped there, but thank you. I loved Garp's explanation for wanting to stay within the Marines. We always knew it would be something stereotypical, like who would protect the people? But I think him staying in the Marines to protect the actual good Marines is so nice, yeah? And we gotta remember, right? In case you guys haven't watched it, but Fanletter showed a great example of this. A lot of everyday fodder Marines, they're not bad people. They genuinely signed up to help people. Of course, flawed system, right? Flawed system because it's under the WG. But most of them just want to protect their hometowns or protect actual civilians. So I can't hate that. I do like that Garp said this. I feel like it was pretty obvious, but of course, until it's stated, we don't actually know. But yeah, W Garp and W Garp. No one even knows about Barbell. His fan base is a myth. That's crazy. Did Imu leave Rox's sword? Maybe Garling will steal it and finish Xebec for real. Then Rayleigh and Gaban will fight Sommers and Garling to protect Roger and Garp. I like that. Yeah, I almost forgot about this theory. This was big a while back. We even made a whole video about it. But the sword in Imu's room looks somewhat identical to Rox's sword. So it's like, oh, like did Imu or Garling kill Rox and then they took his sword back as a trophy? I still enjoy that theory. Maybe this could be it. And hell, I wouldn't be shocked. You know, even if it isn't the same sword, I wouldn't be shocked if we get an SBS and somebody is like, hey, Oda, what is Rox's sword? What's the name? What's the grading? And Oda's like, yeah, by the way, he has a special supreme grade blade and it's named Teach, which would mirror Roger, right? Roger's sword is named Ace and then his son is named Ace. Rox's sword could be named Teach and then boom, his son is named Teach. Is that silly? 100%. But this is One Piece. We got Marco Polo, brother. You know, Marco Polo was so goofy that we can't even say no to this, right? We cannot say frickin' no. But yes, with that being said, guys, we're gonna cut it right there. Keep it nice, short, sweet, and simple. Thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way until the end. I really frickin' appreciate it. Now, I ask for your assistance. If you have the time, please be sure to check out my side channels right over here at Syvduck, SYVDUCK. I do gameplay videos, random videos in general. If you want to check that out, I'd be really happy about that. And I also have an anime reaction channel up here called Somnus Reacts here on YouTube, where I react to One Punch Man, One Piece, and anything else that catches my fancy. With that being said, you guys take care, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, brothers.